This week, we're going to continue our discussion on the knee. In particular, we're going to talk about a couple of ligaments that protect and stabilize it during yoga practices. Some parts of the knee receive a lot of attention. For example, if you have watched any type of sporting event, you've probably heard of someone injuring their ACL. However, there are a lot of other ligaments in the knee joint. The menisci are sort of like cushions on top of the lower legs that the femur or thigh bone line up to that articulating surface, right, the connecting surface of the tibia. And the menisci kind of act like cushions on top of that lower leg. So they cushion the articulating or connecting bones. The meniscus is shaped like a figure 8. Menisci is plural, meniscus is singular. So menisci are important to properly functioning painless knees. Other important ligaments to consider are the MCL and the LCL. MCL stands for medial collateral ligament, and LCL stands for lateral collateral ligament. These ligaments are located on each side of the knee joints, and we utilize all of our ligaments every day, but I want to focus on how we use them in terms of our yoga practice, and in particular, when we are in poses where our knees in extension or straight. For example, in a side plank. I chose this image very intentionally because the extended knee here has to work extra hard because the opposite foot is resting on the extended leg. Personally, I wouldn't practice a side plank this way. Some people may enjoy this pose. Either way, I feel I should mention if you do practice this pose, I don't necessarily think resting your foot on your knee is a really great idea. We don't even do this in tree pose where there's a lot less force. However, that said, when I look at this picture, I think about every muscle that has to be firing to achieve this pose. So let's take that idea and focus it on the lower leg. The hip abductors have to be engaged, as do the hip adductors. A balance of external and internal hip rotators are necessary to keep that lower leg straight. The toes are pointed slightly up, they're pulled slightly up, meaning the tibialis anterior is likely engaged in the shin. And in the thigh, the quads must be engaged to make the knees straight, right? To make that lower leg straight. The list of muscles could keep going, but let's talk ligaments. In addition to all these muscles, the ligaments are hard at work to protect that joint. When things are not properly lined up, it makes it harder for muscles and ligaments to do their job. In this case, the hips are aided by the QL, lats, abdominal muscles, and the role of muscles is important, but different than ligaments. Muscles move the bones, and ligaments help, but they're not the same thing. Ligaments aren't stretchy like muscles, and they take a longer time to heal because they get less blood flow than muscles do, and ligaments work to keep the joint within its safe range of motion. So if this person in this image accidentally presses too hard, that LCL could get stretched out, causing issues for the knee joint. We need to ensure our joint safety. And part of that is choosing poses that are appropriate for our individual bodies. Using our muscles properly helps the ligaments protect our joints, and as always, our entire body works together.